Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Is this a Lovecraft story?
Yep.
Have you read the original story?
No.
What is the color of space?
Spoiler alert, purple.
All this and more on Gory Storytime.
Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig. And this week we're ending our series of 4 Shudder exclusive movies.
Yes.
I mean, exclusive for streaming.
Yes.
Because we watched them all
watched it on
disc.
DVD. Yes.
Yes. We don't have Shudder. If someone wanted to actually pay us to, do it or give us a free thing, we could.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, so if anyone at Shudder is watching
Shudder,
this,
if you've seen our show at all, if you're streaming the Monster movie,
we jokingly say that we'd willing to whore ourselves out, but it's not really a joke. Anyway, the basic premise is stuff happens and it's very confusing. No,
a
meteorite.
A meteorite lands in Nick Cage's lawn,
and it takes place in a fictional town in Massachusetts.
Yeah, and then
the water gets messed up, and everybody reacts totally differently to this meteor.
Yeah.
Like, no two people have the same effects.
Correct. And some people who should be affected aren't. So, yeah, a meteorite full of inconsistency lands in small-town Arkham, and then...
Well, Arkham is the small town. Yes, spelt like in Batman. But no, not
no
that.
Batman.
More like farmland is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, more like Smallville than Arkham.
Yeah.
So,
if you wanted to compare to other DC properties, I sure agree.
But yes, then stuff happened.
Yeah, lots of stuff happened, and it's all about this one family and the stuff that's happening at them.
Yeah.
And from them, and to them, and around them, and up them, and in them.
Yeah. Okay.
That's more accurate than you would want to know.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway.
Yeah, so... Yes.
So, yeah, if you know H.P. Lovecraft, you know that he's...
Well, a weird fella.
Yeah. Like, you would assume he was on LSD, except 100 years ago they probably didn't have a lot of it.
Watching this, I almost thought that I was.
Right, there we go. But why don't we throw it to the trailer and see if that's as confusing as the movie is.
Look at this.
All those years in the big city, we finally got out. We're living the dream.
Maybe it is a dream.
Then everything just blew up. Big flash, like a pink light. Or actually, I don't even know what color it was. It wasn't like any color I'd ever seen before.
Looks like a meteorite. You think it's radioactive? I mean, it's from space, right? Meteorites are generally no more dangerous than ordinary rocks.
How can something that big just disappear? Did you plant those?
No.
Ward, you come here for a sec.
Oh, God.
What are you doing? Shh. It's talking to me. Who's talking to you? A man in the well.
It's in the static, it's in the moisture. It's in here, is out there. And what's out there is in here now.
Everything's under control.
Why are you so in denial? That ding from the meteorite changes everything around it.
It's just the color. But it burns.
Do you believe me now?
I don't know what I believe anymore. Everything's gonna be A-okay.
Well, all right.
So we were right, and it made just about as much sense.
He's sitting here watching the trailer going, it's everything I remember. It's like, yeah, they showed you all the stuff that really sticks out in the movie, but don't take this the wrong way. We enjoyed watching it. We just,
Yes.
It's not,
We don't know.
but after you're done, you kind of go, what was that? We'll get into that later. But first, I'm gonna need
This.
yeah, we need to get into the real reason that we're here.
Yes.
I had someone come up to me the other day that happens to watch this show and actually ask me, you say that you don't really do this about the horror movies, but you're always wearing horror stuff. And I had to explain what a joke was. No.
See, we're rolling in the fat stacks of cash so we can afford the facade of horror movie memorabilia.
Yeah, we do that so that people see us on the street and go, oh, you're those guys. This week, the way that we make our money is we sold ourselves out to these giant corporations that you've obviously heard of. They're real and all. Gory Storytime is brought to you by Arkham Water, sourced from the Arkham, Massachusetts reservoir. It's full of vitamins and minerals that no other bottled water does have. Arkham Water, the brownish tint is our guarantee of quality. Warning, the FDA has not verified the claims of this ad.
And by Love Crafts. Are you sick of craft stores that are closed on Sundays? Love Crafts owner doesn't push Christianity because his faith is in something older and his gods are darker. You may not like the plan to unleash darkness on the whole world, but you can still buy paint and scrapbooking material all weekend.
All right.
Yes.
Now, let's get into the behind-the-scenes information, or as Jason likes to call it, the meat and beef.
Or as I like to call it, the meat and beef of the show. Yes.
For the two people that watch that don't remember what that's from, I meant to say meat and potatoes, and he slipped and said meat and beef, and then I started mocking him, and like the correct thing to do, he just
Doubled down?
went with it and doubled down.
Oh, yeah. I'll go first.
Okay.
The weather report playing on the television while Lavinia is washing dishes mentions Arkham, Innsmouth, Dunwich, and Kingsport. All of these settings are part of different H.P. Lovecraft stories. In addition, Lavinia questions Benny about a former girlfriend from Aylesbury. It's another location that too belongs to Lovecraft's universe.
In a Q&A with Richard Stanley, he said that the film would be the first of a trilogy, with the Dunwich horror adaptation coming next. But in March of 2021, that trilogy was canceled after he was accused of beating his former partner, Scarlett Amaris, and production company Spectravision cut all relations with him.
All right, so instead of canceling the trilogy,
they could have
just get rid of him,
right,
and the company could do it. The narrator's name is Ward Phillips. Howard Phillips Lovecraft is H.P. Lovecraft's full name. One Lovecraft story from 1927 is titled The Case of Charles Dexter Ward.
So Ward is in there, but yeah, H.P. Lovecraft is Ward Phillips. Interesting. Richard Stanley's favorite movie of Nick Cage's is Vampire Kiss from 1988. He asked Cage to use the same style of performance.
Richard Stanley's first feature film in 24 years since the infamous The Island of Dr. Moreau. I need to see that.
He got kicked off halfway through, and they took his name off of it and gave the credit to someone else, even though a lot of the footage was his. Yeah,
24 years?
That's why they said infamous. And it was still just like... Anyway, when Ward Phillips walks around his 10 at night looking for a possible intruder, he's suddenly dazzled by car lights. Ward covers his face with a book he was reading, The Willows. It refers to the eponymous novel and an early horror story written by Algernon Blackwood.
Nicolas Cage always wanted to make a Lovecraft adaptation as tribute to his father, August Coppola, Francis Ford Coppola's older brother, who is a big fan of H.P. Lovecraft. Makes sense.
Director Richard Stanley and Swedish filmmaker Henrik Mahler say they performed a ritual to the Lovecraftian god Yog-Sothoth,
Yes.
while in Pyrenees to get the film made.
Richard Stanley nurtured the idea of bringing H.P. Lovecraft's short story The Color Out of Space to the screen since 2011, but had trouble finding financing.
Richard Stanley wrote an unproduced biopic of H.P. Lovecraft called Providence.
Producer. Oh, yeah. I like documentaries, apparently.
Mm-hmm. If they're done right.
Producer Josh C. Waller removed all of Richard Stanley's previous collaborators from the project, so Stanley had to work with mostly complete strangers. He stated that this was for the better in the end. He felt he never had a better or more sympathetic crew.
Nicolas Cage took inspiration from Jack Nicholson's performance in 5 Easy Pieces, especially the car freakout scene. So it was a combination of himself in an earlier movie and Jack Nicholson that he was playing.
The logo for the WARK,
W-A-R-K.
Yeah, news channel that interviews Nicolas Cage's character is very similar to the H.P. Lovecraft's original Elder sign.
And when I corrected you, it's because TV stations are named initials, W-A-R-K. It's not called WARK.
Well, W-A-R-K. It's WARK.
The simulation that Benny is playing with on his computer before the asteroid strikes is a real game called Universe Sandbox 2.
Yes. Both Nicolas Cage and Richard Stanley at one point of their life went into a search for the Holy Grail.
Ward Phillips is wearing a sweatshirt from Miskatonic University, mentioned in various Lovecraft stories. Tommy Chong's character Ezra might be named after Ezra Whedon, a character from the short story The Case of Charles Dexter Ward.
The third collaboration between Nicolas Cage and XYZ Films after the highly acclaimed horror comedy Mom and Dad and The Cult hit Mandy.
Above Benny's computer desk was a sign that reads, "No flesh shall be spared." Shall be spared. Sorry. I bit my tongue and it's making me talk funny. Where is it? Okay, this is a version of a quote from the Bible, Mark 13:20. The original quote says, "And except that the Lord has shortened those days, no flesh should be saved. But for the elect's sake, whom he has chosen, he has shortened the days."
When Ward is listening to the strange noise recorded on audio magnetic tape, Ezra comments, "See, I knew no one would believe me unless I got it on Memorex." Memorex was one of the largest audio and media tape cassette manufacturers in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, they had a commercial where a woman hit the note that breaks glass, recorded it onto Memorex, and in the commercial, playing the tape back, shattered a glass. Saying, like, and their tag was like, is it live or is it Memorex? Meaning it's like it's high quality. Right. That's
pretty cool.
Yeah. Josh C. Waller's character is named Pierce. The original short story, Ami Pierce, I guess, is a crazy man and close friend with the Gardner family who explains to the narrator the events that happened after the fall of the meteor.
You know, I wondered if that Memorex ad was staged.
Probably. I don't know.
How do you break glass with the recording?
The woman hitting the note for a certain period of time, and if it's a perfect duplication of that sound and that pitch, it should.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, Rotten Tomatoes is a thing that I am getting increasingly irritated with.
Yes. The idea is they take all of the critics' scores and then they just list them as positive or negative.
Yes.
Then they give you a percentage that is positive.
Yes.
And that's the number they give you.
Yeah.
So the lower the number, the less positive reviews it got. And then they do the same with the people, which I'm fine with. And then they have top critics, which I'm also fine with because
it means more
something.
from these people, whatever.
Right, because they are usually would have bigger followings or whatever.
Yeah. Probably
but
a
then
Siskel
with
and
the
Ebert
people
type of thing.
that get to vote positive or negative, they have two numbers, and it's like verified people. Well, I don't know what
How the heck
it takes
those
to
people get verified?
Right, if they're just the audience. So I hate that they have two scores there. So we're going to go with the total audience.
People, yes. So out of all of the critics, and not just the top critics, they give it an 86%.
And all of the people have it at 64%.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to say we did like it more than not. So let's start with what's the thing you liked the least?
The thing I liked the least. I mean, okay. So it keeps going back to this guy's daughter is insane. All right, she is insane. She just like cuts herself with knives.
Box cutter, but okay.
It's disgusting, and I hated it, and I needed less of it in my life. And
except it was a really cool scene.
It was, and they kept doing it.
And that was really cool.
It was, and I didn't like it.
Even though he admits it was cool?
It was great.
His least favorite thing was great. All right. My least favorite thing is I don't like Lovecraft. I know as a horror fanatic, I'm supposed to love certain things. Stephen King? Yeah. Lovecraft? Supposed to? I just never gave a crap about Cthulhu.
More of this.
The only time I've enjoyed Cthulhu was when he was a side character on a 3-episode arc of the South Park.
Yes.
When
he was great in that, by the way.
Yeah.
And was fully faithful to Cthulhu.
They made Cthulhu, absolutely.
Which is awesome.
Outside of that, I've never been a fan. So it's what I went into it with a pre-notion that I already didn't care for. What was your favorite thing?
Well,
and I know this.
Nicolas Cage. All right. Every single time that he was on the screen, I was having a good time.
Here's the thing about that. Anyone out there that's seen Nick Cage movies knows that there's a couple ways he goes. There's ones where he acts his butt off and does a really good job,
serious
quality,
bang-up job.
And then there's Nick Cage going off the rails, Nick Cage wild, out of control, what is going on, there's a tornado for a brain. And that's what he went with here, which means his favorite thing, or his least favorite thing was something awful, and his favorite thing, or his least favorite thing was something amazing, and his favorite thing is something awful. His acting is awful, but in such a way that it's very enjoyable.
It is. I don't know what the story was, but that acting fit it.
Oh, it was great. Bad acting, overacting, crappy acting, but it was great. It was
it was perfect.
Yeah, it was exactly what it needed to be.
And the critics understood that this time.
Yeah, I think so.
That's shocking.
My favorite thing was there is a scene where a woman and her son, spoiler alert, are melded together as if her body was trying to reabsorb her son. And it was creepy. It was
disgusting.
Her son was growing out of her back all of a sudden.
Absorbing into her back.
And it was gross and amazing.
It was just visceral and disgusting.
But the same thing that caused that made him get snakeskin, basically scales on his arm, and made his daughter stab herself with a box cutter. And everybody reacted very differently to this weird
and his son
magenta thing.
Whistled at the
the
well.
watch this movie. It's good. It's good.
It's so much fun.
If you used to do I'm gonna say this to a man that doesn't watch the show, but I'll tell him to watch this one. Dad.
Oh boy.
Remember in like the 60s and 70s when you did things that might have been a little psychedelic, and you can't do it now because of health issues and stuff, but if you ever want to get that feeling back, watch this movie. I'll loan you the disc. You'll feel like you're tripping again.
Does he like H.P. Lovecraft?
Kim does.
She'd probably like this movie then.
My stepmother, or as I like to say, my bonus mom.
Okay, I think it's time for us to give our numbers.
Yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10.
All right.
Now,
I thoroughly enjoyed myself while watching this movie. And I don't know that I can rate this movie fairly. Because if I'm doing it at face value of what I understood,
right,
or the peak acting.
Yeah, there's so many things that should be detriments but work somehow.
A 9?
I'm going to go 8.5, but yeah.
I had
It was
such a good time.
It was a blast.
Like, what's the name of the
and
company?
We honestly don't know most of what happened.
Spectravision.
It definitely affected the water.
It definitely affected the water.
Like, I don't know.
Why?
Because
Lovecraft. It hit the ground.
Nope, because Lovecraft.
So, Spectravision. Make the other 2 movies, please. That's all I have to say on that topic.
Spectravision. Yeah.
Spectravision. Please.
Anyway, so I went 8.5, you went 9.
9. Like, this was
now,
so much
understand,
fun.
We're being very clear that everything is wrong with it.
And that's
perfectly.
Perfect.
So if you watch it and go, how did they give this an 8.5 or a 9? Understand, we enjoy bad when it's done right. This is perfect. It's bad perfected.
Like, I don't think I can get my point across to you.
Like, I get it. We're Killer Tomatoes fans. We're Killer Clowns fans.
Like,
when we heard that there's a movie that's a combination of Ted, the talking bear, and Terrifier with gore and blood,
not talking clown,
we bought it. We're going to end up reviewing that at some point.
Oh my goodness, yes.
But anyway, all right. Let's wrap up, right?
I guess so.
I think that's everything.
That stuff on the screen. You can watch Fact TV channel 1082, Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m.
You can check us out on Facebook, and like I say every week, by that I mean check out Gory Storytime, but also Fact TV. They live stream. They have a bunch of stuff locally.
You can go to fact8.com, watch a bunch of back episodes of this, as well as many, 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 many other shows.
You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Craig Jakes, all one word, all lowercase.
And I'm at Jiggly Firmbrain. I only tweet things that he says that I find funny in or out of context, usually out.
Unless it's funny or in. Also, check out YouTube. Go to Gory, type in Gory Storytime, and the 2 things that'll pop up is its own page and Fact TV's page. Like, subscribe, do all that. Also, a little bonus thing. Not immediately, but there's a script that I wrote that we plan on.
Yes.
And we're looking for anybody that's local that's willing to work on this for free right now, with an idea of we'll explain what we want to do in the future. There's an option for hoping for money in the far future, but
until then, we are not rolling in the cash like we might put on.
Yeah.
All right.
But we're looking for someone to play Jason and his twin brother, their mother, in a sitcom. I'm not going to get into any more details, but if you watch this show and you think you could be at the right age to play his
mother, yes,
and have interest in acting, we are not, we're interested.
Yes,
hit us up. Message through Facebook.
Yeah, if you
or
message
whatever.
the page, it should pop up on
Yeah.
Messenger, and yeah.
And we're definitely looking for someone to fill that part. We got someone to play his twin brother.
Yeah, and we got someone to play me.
And we got someone to play a victim that you have. But it's a sitcom situation, and it's going to be funny. But it's also horror-based.
Yes.
So that's it.
Yeah, so I need a mom. Please sign up in the comments. And until next time, with something completely unrelated to this, maybe, I've been your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and father, Craig, and
Sweet
Sweet dreams.
dreams.